If you're thinking about moving and you want to learn about what everyday life is going to be like in your new town, this is the place for you. On Open House, we sit down with local top producing real estate agents to help you find the best places to live in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. So if you don't want buyer's remorse and you want to find your dream town, we are here for you. So go ahead and book a free call with us and we'll help guide you to the area that is right for you. Now, let's jump in and learn about your new home. So if you're thinking about moving to North Calvert, specifically Chesapeake Beach or North Beach, this is a video for you because today we're talking to the perfect person for that topic, and that's Joel Wagner. He is a real estate agent in the area and knows a lot about Chesapeake Beach and North Beach. So Joel, would you mind just introducing yourself? Tell me, like, how long you've been a realtor, how long have you lived in the area, and what kind of got you into real estate at the beginning?
All right, Jonathan. Yes, my name is Joel Wagner. I'm a realtor partner with the Reynolds team in Keller Williams. I've been in real estate now for 7 years. I have lived in North Calvert County since 1985, however many years it is. A lot longer than many of the people that live here currently. It was a very small town when the whole area was when I first moved here, but it has tripled in population year after year until the county kind of put a halt on the amount of development that they were doing to try to keep it a more rural feeling environment from suburban.
Okay, very cool. And what got you into real estate when you made that transition?
I was a franchisee of a pizza shop, and I was a single store owner operator. I was putting in about 80 to 100 hours a week, and I had 4 young children, and they were growing up without me. So although real estate is, there's no off switch, but I decided to make the leap, sell my store, get into real estate, and have a life where I could budget my time more wisely, so I could block off for those important things that I needed to be there for: recitals, sporting events, dinners, so forth and so on. So I got very busy really quick, hit the ground running, and it has been a very good move for my family.
That's awesome. That's great, and I'm sure that that gives you a lot of perspective, having run a small business running a small business for a while already before getting into real estate. I'm sure that your business savvy is probably pretty high among folks in the industry. And when earlier you were talking about some of the development that's gone on in Chesapeake and North Beach. What's it like currently? I mean, you said that it was tripling growth for a while, but then it got tapered off in order to preserve some of the rural aspects to the area. What's it like right now? What's the culture? Is it city, suburban, beach town? What do you got there?
It is a great mix of all those things. There are agricultural areas. There is a very much feel of watermen, farmers, professionals that are commuting into the city. But I would say it has more of a rural, small town feel, but also suburban vibe. So there's a good mix of diversity in the people that live there. So you have all types of people, but it's just a wonderful place where, no matter what your background is or what your income is, it feels like everyone just comes together.
Okay, sounds good. And speaking of income, what's the jobs like out there? What's the economy like? Are most people commuting up to DC or perhaps Annapolis, or are most people working locally? What's that like?
Yeah, I'd say the majority of people are commuting into the city. It is a good location where you can be far enough away from the concrete jungle of traffic lights and just the busyness, but still be a very reasonable commute where you are about 25 minutes from the beltways. You could get into Northern Virginia or DC within 30, 40 minutes. And very light traffic, even during rush hours, trying to get in and out of the area.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I guess maybe a lot of the traffic goes down Route 5 to the west side of St. Mary's County versus Route 4. Route 4 is always the way that I like to go down from DC, just because of the rolling hills, and it's a lot more scenic. And yeah, as you said, just a lot less traffic there too.
Yeah. Yeah, you really, unless there's an accident, you don't hit much traffic until you get around Suitland Parkway to turn to go into DC if you're not going to take 4 straight in.
Sure. Very cool. And as far as the kind of the schools go in the area, of course, a lot of times people who are looking to move in the area, they want to look at private schools. Maybe they want to learn about public schools. What's the mix of schools look like in North Beach and Calvert in
Yeah,
general?
they are wonderful schools, blue ribbon, A-rated schools, pretty much across the board for public schooling. Yeah, Windy Hill, Beach Elementary, Northern High School, Northern Middle School. Some of the private schools, there are some Montessori schools. Cardinal Hickey Academy is a very popular one. There's Tidewater Montessori School. That's Calverton is one that it's in Huntingtown, but a lot of not very far from Chesapeake Beach at all. In a 10-minute drive. So lots of great schools for all sorts of people with whatever desire they have, whether it be private, public, co-op. Well, there are a homeschool, support group, if you will. Lots of people that is becoming, especially since COVID happened, a way for many people. They just have decided that they want to homeschool and have a support system where their kids can go a couple days to a classroom setting with recess, lunch, classrooms, but spend the rest of the week at home doing their work. But yeah, it's great for all types of people that are educating their kids in a variety of ways.
Yeah, very cool. There's yeah, I know with COVID there ended up popping up a lot of pod schools where basically maybe 3 or 4 or 5 parents would get together and hire a tutor to teach their children the variety of subjects that they want them to be taught. And that was something. And of course, as you're kind of getting at, you got those homeschooling co-ops where they're going to school like once or twice a week or something like that. But Calverton, I think last time I spoke to some folks from over there, they have a feeder team for DC United. They've got a soccer program where kids come from all over the world, South America, all over the country, to go to Calverton to board so that they can be basically fed into the DC United professional soccer team up there in DC. So there's some cool things happening over there.
Yeah, definitely. Calverton has housing for some of those students that are, coming from all over the world. They call it the res, is the housing community that they have down there. So it's really a cul-de-sac with a few homes, and it is kind of like dorm living, but they have a lot of fun.
Very cool. And as far as when you get off of work, when you're done with school, what are some of the things that people like to do in the area?
In the area, there are all sorts of parks, places, the beaches, boardwalks.
I would say probably the boardwalk is probably the center of attraction, especially in North Beach, right? Or do you have
Oh, absolutely. North Beach, the boardwalk is great. It really does have that beach feel where in the summertime there are lots of people, playing in the sand, enjoying being out on rafts on the water as you're walking across. There are several specialty shops, lots of locally owned businesses. You have throughout the whole area, wineries, breweries. There's Scorpion Brewing Company. There's Friday's Creek Winery. There's farmers markets, water park, hiking trails. There are more scenic boardwalks. So there are several boardwalks all throughout North and Chesapeake Beach where you can walk alongside of cliffs. You can walk through marshy areas. You have boardwalks that'll take you through hiking trails and then back to another boardwalk. Really cool place to experience, even if you didn't live there. But for the locals, they do take advantage of all these things. And yeah, You'll see a
Yeah.
lot of familiar faces when you live there, for especially with people out with the little ones, pushing them in a stroller or
Mhm.
riding bikes, walking dogs. It's very family friendly and oriented.
Yeah, that's awesome. It sounds like there's a really neat blend between some of the nature that you're going to want to experience, along with the shops and the restaurants and things of that nature. So, what are some of your favorite restaurants, maybe along the boardwalk or just really anywhere in Chesapeake or North Beach?
Oh wow. Well, it all depends on what you want to go out for, because there is a variety of all sorts of things. West Lawn Inn, if you want a fancy dinner out with your partner, or just to have some really good food. They have a changing menu with executive chefs that really know what they're doing. It's fantastic. There's Hook and Vine. It's more light fare and seafood and wine. Catch 22 is another really good American and seafood place. Plaza Mexico, if you like the Mexican, but being surrounded by water, you'd imagine there's just amazing seafood restaurants everywhere.
Sure.
So if going outside of Maryland to eat seafood just feels wrong in so many ways to me. There's a lot of pride, especially in the Maryland blue crab, as you can imagine.
Sure. Yeah, that's
And Abner's Crab House is another. So for those who want to have that sit down and let's crack some crabs and get down and dirty, that's another great place to experience doing that.
yeah, you definitely can't think about moving to Maryland without thinking about trying some of the seafood. A lot of different things that you can eat, whether it be the crabs or oysters, right, as well. Of course, we got some good rockfish.
Oh, for
So,
sure. In season. Absolutely.
yep. And then as it relates to like events throughout the year, whether it be music events or um, maybe events like I don't know, Blessing of the Fleet, perhaps,
Mhm.
or just other types of events that you might see on an annual basis. What kind of things do you guys have in that regards over there in North Calvary?
Yeah, plus the fleet is a big one. That has a huge turnout because there are lots of boats. Charter fishing is a big industry right there. There's also rod and reel by the Chesapeake Bay Resort and Spa. They have live music very frequently, so especially throughout the summertime, you can hear a lot of cover bands and even some bands that you may recognize and listen to their music. Probably more of a classic rock genre, but
Mhm.
you can hear it from where they set up throughout a lot of areas. So if you're just walking around, you kind of have that buzz in the air of people just enjoying being outside, having a good time with live music.
That's awesome. And one of the things that I think happened maybe a year or two ago, I'm not sure if they do it all the time, but fairly recently, my wife and kids and I, we went up to one of the state parks in Calvert, and there was a hot air balloon festival, and they had like a couple hundred hot air balloons out there, and it was just a lot of fun. They were taking kids up, and taking them down, and that was another really neat event that you guys have up there.
Yeah. There's also a lot for people that enjoy antiquing, arts and crafts types of things. There are, trying to think, just so many different things to do. Farmers markets are another one that are a big thing throughout the area, where you can have a congregation of all those local restaurants, breweries, wineries, cheesemakers that all come together for special events. We used to do it once a week, and they'd shut down a few streets and just have all the local vendors come and set up. And they'd also have live music there, and have a lot of things for the kids, cotton candy, funnel cakes. Had a fair carnival feel with all the community coming together to showcase their talents.
Yeah, that sounds like a blast. Yeah, I know that
Mhm.
there's a lot of local artists around that area as well, and
Mhm.
you combine that with the antiquing, and it seems like you got something for everybody. Whether you're on the younger end of the spectrum, the older end of the spectrum, that's uh,
Mhm.
that's pretty awesome. Uh, And then as it relates to maybe like, um, oh, let's see, nature. We already talked about the beach. We talked about some of the boardwalks, some of the trails. Is there anything else that you'd mention in particular in regards to the nature scenes around the area, places that you could take your dogs, your horses, anything like that?
Well, you've parks in the area. Well, several dog parks. Anytime you kind of have a beach community, they love their dogs, and if they just don't want to take them uh, to the boardwalk to walk, there are many. Dunkirk District Park isn't too far away. They have a dog park there, as well as a skate park for the kids, like riding their skateboards and doing the half pipe, quarter pipe, launch ramps, rails, all that type of thing, with tennis courts, basketball courts, ball fields, uh, several different tot lots, and really nice facilities of playgrounds that have zip lines and all the other cool stuff that they can do. There are also walking trails through there, lots of different historic trails that you can walk on. I'm trying to think of some. Chesapeake Beach Historic Heritage Trail is one.
Okay.
Uh, there's a Chesapeake Beach also railway trail. They have a museum there for the old railroad that used to run through that as well. But I was telling you previously that when my mom was a little girl, she used to vacation in North and Chesapeake Beach. There was roller coasters and just all that. And over the years, it's had its ups and downs, but it's very much an up and coming. Uh, it's almost like the entire area has been renovated, for lack of a better term.
Sure.
So it has definitely cleaned up. It is just a beautiful, fun place to be.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to find a place that's as as nice as Chesapeake and North Beach, so close to DC, that's like as affordable as it is. So actually, if you don't mind jumping into some of the real estate questions that people would have coming into the area, what is the median home price more or less for, say, a single family home in the area?
Right around 375 to 385. That
Okay.
gets you probably a home a little over, I'd say probably about 22 to 2,500 square feet, 3, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. Uh, Lot sizes will vary in that area, depending on what type of home you're looking for, because it is not cookie cutter at all. You could have a bungalow, a ranch style home, split level, split foyer, colonial. There's really no exact type of home for that area. The closer you get to the water, there are condos that overlook the water. There are homes on the beach. Depends on what your price range is. I mean, you could find a place to live as in the low to mid 200s, or go all the way up to the millions. It's really what you're looking for and what your budget is.
Sure. Yeah, actually, that brings up a good question. I'm curious to know. I would imagine that there's quite a few waterfront homes in the area. What what would you say the price range would be for like a nice home on the water? Maybe it's got a little dock. 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom, 3 bath kind of house. On kind of
Okay.
the other side.
Well, we'll break it down a little bit more specifically to
Yeah,
say,
please.
if you were looking for a condo that was waterfront, where you would look out your window to the beautiful Chesapeake Bay, you'd be looking around 450,000. You could be in the 600-700 range for a 3 level townhome. You might even be able to get a boat slip with your townhome there, because there are townhomes that are right on the water. Literally, you can walk out your door onto a pier and,
Very
and
cool.
fish a crab or whatever you'd like to do. If you're looking for a waterfront beach home, I mean, you're probably going to be in the 900s to 1.2 million range.
Okay. Well, that's still really good comparative to a lot of places a little bit further north. Annapolis, that might run you 1.7, 2 million. So,
Mhm,
yeah, I've
absolutely.
definitely worked on plenty of homes that were, in that $3 to $4 or $5 million range that were on the water, that were
Mhm.
much bigger, of course,
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
maybe 6,000, 7,000 square feet, but still, that's a very manageable price range, I think,
Mhm.
in the area. Um, you know, obviously you've been working for a long time as an agent. What would you say is maybe a tip that you could offer somebody who's out of state or just out of the area and thinking about buying in North Calvert?
My tip would be if they were moving to the area and they weren't really sure and they were considering this, part of North Chesapeake Beach, Twin Beaches as we call them here, that for the amount that you would spend here, you would have a very good quality of life. You would have an easy commute if you're traveling to the city. You would have a sense of community with those who you're around. That, for me, is unparalleled. You have all sorts of community events, local shops, restaurants, things to experience that are unique to the area that you're just not going to find anywhere else. Quality of life, as far as if you're an active person, having all these parks, hiking trails, boardwalks, beaches, just the area is rich with all sorts of things to enjoy. Just hunting for shark's teeth or shells on the beach. It's one of my family's favorite things to do, at least my wife. She's gotten really good at spotting shark's teeth. It's amazing. I can look at the same pile of sand for like 15 minutes and she'll reach over and find 3 shark's teeth. And I have no idea how she does it, but it's like a magnet.
Yeah, well, that's incredible. Well, sure, just like anything, the more you train your eye, the better you're going to get at finding those things. I'm sure for you, you've been training your eye on finding good deals, and you'd be able to spot those a mile away, and other people aren't going to be able to see it, if it's right there in front of their face. So everyone's got their talent. So I think actually that's a good place for us to leave off. If you're thinking about moving into North Calvert, North Beach, Chesapeake Beach especially, but really anywhere in that Southern Maryland area, Joel is definitely your guy. Joel, how many listings did you do last year actually? Or transactions?
On average, I do, just for having still have a house full.
Yeah.
So whatever my capacity is, but last year 35. This year I'm probably pacing for about 45 homes.
Yeah, well, that's absolutely incredible, because the majority of full-time agents are doing something like 10 to 15 per year. So to be doing 35, 45 transactions, that is absolutely killing it. And that's the thing, is that you get better with practice and with repetition, and you're not going to be able to find very, very few people doing 35, 45 transactions in the area that Joel is. And so, again, if you're thinking about moving into the area, go ahead and give him a call. Check out the description box for contact details. And thanks, Joel, for spending the time and sharing your knowledge and sharing your expertise with us.
Thank you, Jonathan. Always a pleasure.